Making a window always starts with selecting an appropriate piece of wood material. This is a pine board, Pinus sylvestris, Scandinavian pine. The obvious thing to look for first is the board quite straight? Does it have a lot of twisting? And in case it's got a lot of twist in it, then it's no good for window making. You can see the heartwood here. It's light red in color, and then a sapwood on both sides. The sapwood is somewhat blue stained. This is a fungi, but it doesn't affect the strength of the wood, only the visual appearance of the wood. So we won't pay too much attention to that now. There are a few knots concentrated at the center of the board. They are quite small, and they also have this dark color around them. And this tells me that this board comes from quite far down in the log, close to the ground. Looking at the end grain of the board, you can see that we have the pith here, and this means that this board is taken from the center of the tree. The heartwood ranges from the center and approximately here and here, and then we have the sapwood on both sides. The growth pattern is that the tree has grown quite fast in its early life, and then it has slowly grown slower and slower. We can also see that the sapwood has grown extremely slowly. This tells me that this tree is quite old, and it has had the time to mature in a proper way, and that makes the sapwood also quite durable to withstand rot. So we are not necessarily dependent on using only the heartwood here. We can use a combination of heartwood and the sapwood. I will now demonstrate the splitting of this board into a style, window style. And I will use this squaring cord and my framed ripsaw for this task. Then I'm going to make a straight line here. So I need to take off the edge of the board to make it straight. And this is a piece of old string, and I use soot from a burnt stick. This. Now I have a straight line that I can use when I saw off the edge of the board. You can see the string with soot on it has made a black line that is completely straight along the edge of the board. In Norway, the tradition was to use a frame saw to do the splitting of boards. This particular saw is in Norwegian called a foot saw. That is because when we do the sawing motion, we kind of hold it vertically like this and do the sawing motion up and down. I will give a demonstration now. what is especially nice about this kind of saw is that this string kind of tensions the blade, and the blade is connected in both ends so it won't twist or warp. And also it's a good exercise for skiing. Sometimes the wood will give some tension to the blade, so I can use my knife just to open the curve a little. Now the art is to try and follow the line that we have made. Okay, so now we have ripped out one style. So now you can have a cup of coffee and I will rip out the rest of the part for the window. After ripping out all the parts for the window, it is time to start planning the pieces straight and to equal width and thickness. And for that job I first use a quite coarse plane. It has two handles on it, so in fact two people can use it at the same time. But I'm alone today, so it will work fine also with one person. This will do the first job with removing all the dust and everything and make it quite coarse but straight. Then I will use this long plane to make the piece smooth and completely straight. To check for any twist or some in the materials, I use my winding sticks like this, and then I look with my eye to see if the sticks are parallel. And they are not quite parallel. This stick here is higher in this corner, and that means that there's a twist in it, and I have to use the plane a little more here and here to make it straight. The piece is lying just flat on my workbench, and I use only a plane stop to prevent it from sliding forwards when I start the job. And now I have to check again to see if the planning I did made any difference. Still a little planning to do. So, because this plane is so long, it will only do work at the very top. And this surface here is quite like the ocean, got waves in it, and this will only remove the tops of the waves. So, but after I've taken off the tops, it will gradually become more and more efficient. Like this. It's time to check a final time to see if it's now completely straight and without any twist. Yeah. Perfect. The next step is to square the edge of the style according to this surface that I have now made. Now these two surfaces is completely squared up, so I give them a little mark to know that these two corners are exactly 90 degrees. To set out the thickness and width, I use this marking gouge. It has two rods, one to each side with a small point nail on it on each side. And these can be set individually. So I set the thickness on one side and the width on the other side. And to mark it up, I can just drag and put it on the side and just drag the measurements like this. And instead of a pencil line, this line here will never be washed off, and it's easy to see. So when I'm getting close to the line, I put away my coarse plane and start with my finer tuned plane and takes it all down to the line. The fact that this line is carved a little into the wood makes it possible for me to see when the plane has come down. It will split the carved line in half, and it will be visible from this side, not only from the edge there. That means I don't have to bend over to have a look at the line. I can see it straight from the top. And then it's the same procedure for making out the width.